everybody, it's Cinnamon Coney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can use the new Art Sherpa collaboration with Viviva Color Sheets kits. This also will be good if you are using color sheets just in general and you want to know more about them. This will cover that information that you might need. If you purchase the kit, we are going to go over what's in the kits, why there are different kits, what to expect about the classes going forward. And also, if you were painting with me from watercolor before, how would you use the colors that you use? And also, how can you paint along if you cannot afford to do the kit right now? So that is everything that we're going to cover, which is quite a lot. I really wanted to do this because so many of the kits sold right away. And I wanted to make sure that we started painting together very soon. So to be able to do that, I had to explain the kits to you guys and some tips and tricks, extra things that you might want to get an even better result. And just all those things. So I don't know. I think we can just hop on in if we have moderators here and we can kind of timestamp the broad topics that I'm talking about. I'll try to like make it an obvious.
We'll just make steps.
Want to do steps? Okay, so we'll do steps, but what we really mean is topics. So the first topic is, what are the Art Sherpa kits? What do you get? What is that about? Okay, so I do watercolor as well as acrylic. If you didn't know this, if you just discovered my second channel, which is my watercolor channel, it's very like early days of our live. If you remember us over on the acrylic channel. And way back when the Viviva color sheets were introduced, they asked if I wanted to help with that. And I saw what it was about, got excited. So I've been working with these guys for a long time. And I just finally I'm like, let's do something custom. I'm going to pick the colors. This isn't in any other kit. Any other Viviva color sheets. And Viviva color sheets are basically little transportable books where the color is on these little swatches and you paint directly off the swatches. And I'll explain how to do this effectively and all like how long it lasts and everything. But this is what the Viviva color sheets are. I like them because they are very transportable. I have to paint a lot on the move. I have to paint, I've talked about a little bit, like to deal with peak anxiety. Like if I fly, I can't fly without painting. And being medicated. Flying is a challenge for me. And if I'm traveling or stressed and I can't bring my whole studio with me, this is how I personally function, is being able to do travel watercolor. I have all kinds of travel watercolor accessories. I got Senelia's Good Kit. I got all the stuff. So there are 3 kits. The big deluxe kit is, see if I can get it in here. It comes with the Viviva color sheets in a little pack. It comes with, let me find a travel brush, an assorted travel brush. This one happens to be Filbert. We have a grip of the Precision Raphael travel brushes assorted that we got from something else. And so we're just gifting you guys brushes in there. I can't say exactly what brush will be in there, but in the big kit, there'll be one of these little brushes, and there will be 4 line and wash sheets on 148-pound watercolor paper. You will get a turtle. You'll get a turtle. A boat. This is the first one, not the last. A boat. You will get a dad and a son on a swimming day. And you will get, and this is my favorite, cup of sea, which is a mermaid in a teacup. So you're going to get these watercolor sheets. Now, the reason for these is, and we'll actually show you how to mount them and everything, is you can paint right over the lines and they don't lift. You could just use the traceables and transfer them on to your surface, or we're going to put these up for you to print out if you want to do that yourself. These are on 9x12, so it's a little hard for most people to print that out on their own printer, which is why, and this is also 140-pound cold press paper, which again, you'll see in a minute why we chose that. Now, inside of every one of these comes one of the watercolor sheets with the Happy Watercolor on it. It also comes with these sort of gifting postcards. I'll show you some of them. I watercolored on one the other day. That's how they look like when they're watercolored on. But it comes with some blank little postcards, and then these sample sets that you can gift to a friend, right? You can get a discount from Viviva Colors if you want to go there. Our kits are only available on our website, but you know, you never know. Sometimes they come up with stuff and a little more there. So extra color that you can do. That is the main kit. Now, obviously, every month I'm coming out with new line and wash designs, and you wouldn't want to buy the watercolors every time because they last a good bit of time. They certainly will last more than 4 paintings. So you can also buy just the printouts, right? Let's say you have your own watercolor colors and you don't want the watercolor sheets because that's not your preference. You can buy just the printouts, and you can also buy just the kit if you don't want the printouts, but you just want this because you collect. I have like every edition Viviva has ever come out with, so I certainly collect them, and I would understand that, like every special edition, limited edition, everything, and they do different colors every time. So I would understand wanting to collect them. So if you're like, oh, I'm just going to collect this one because it's part of my collection, I would completely get that. Now, every month or so, there'll be a new set of projects that come out, line and wash projects, and you can, again, buy just the sheets or the whole kit every time if you wanted to. These are going to be good for all ages, all levels. How are we doing so far on that? Are we like getting into it? Okay. And again, I want to say you can do this with us without buying a single thing, because we will have these up on the website for you to download, right, yourself for free, and you can use the transfer method.
Yep.
You can use your own pens for line and wash, and you can use your own watercolors and get fantastic results and still come to the live classes, which will be here on the watercolor channel. We're not really sure where we were going to hold these, if we were going to go to the acrylic channel, but we realized we just want to keep those families, our families, separate. And hey, we just broke 10,000 subs over here, so thank you very much for that. All right, do we have any questions you saw pop up in the meantime? No?
I was actually just over here doing a little bit of mod maintenance, which I can't do from here.
You can't do it from here? We need mod maintenance that we can't do? We have moderators.
Yeah.
We don't have moderators here to be art cops at all. We have moderators here to be art ambassadors, to make sure you can find, you know, I have a watercolor blog, which I'm going to add the color exchanges to. I have all kinds of information, 1,500 videos. There's a ton even here on this webpage. I had done 30 watercolor lessons, or well, no, it was like 45, 60 over on Instagram way back in a minute ago. There's so much actually here that people don't know, and you can find it on the website. But if you need a guidance, you know, that would be there. All right. So I wanted to show you what these look like finished. This is the turtle that you get in the kit. I did him 2 ways. On the day I teach this one, I will release a slower time lapse of the alternate one that I did. So you can see how to do both of them. I ended up using foil on him, and I didn't really like how the foil went out. So I was like, we'll just show that one. That's going to be a show. But this is done exactly with these sets right here, right? So these are done with these sets. The colors in the sets are really fun. I have, let me see if I can go through here. I have many reds. This is our vivid red, and this is the cherry blossom. It's kind of an exchange for our opera pink, and I'll show you how those compare. This is our dusk orange. It's a lot like a pyrrole orange if you paint along with me. This is like a pyrrole red. This is like a pyrrole orange. This is like an opera pink. I did Happy Yellow, and Happy Yellow lived really solidly between Hansa Yellow and Nickel Azo Yellow. And I was like, I really don't need another yellow on the set, so I just did the Happy Yellow because it's just a perfect, bright, vibrant yellow. This here was, interestingly enough, yellow ochre. To be honest, it's more like quinacridone gold than yellow ochre, but I liked it, so I kept it. This is burnt umber. The burnt umber reads a little bit more like burnt sienna to me than burnt umber, but you can add a little Payne's gray to it to burn it up some more if you wanted to. Here I really got into the greens. This is the olive green. This has a really bright kind of yellowy base in it. Then this is the Viridian green, which, let's be honest, that's a phthalo green. We know phthalo green when we see phthalo green, you know. And this is right here is the foliage green, right? It's nice foliage green. This is peacock blue, which is basically phthalo blue. This one, I've talked about this before. This reminds me very much of a Daniel Smith color, Moonstone or Moonshine, that I really like. It does this nice sort of granulation and everything here. It's indigo blue, but you can see it, the blue and the purple separate, and I just love it. It came in this one set, and I was like, I've got to have it in my set because I love it so much. Persian blue. So Persian blue is just this nice deeper range of blue. It doesn't quite take us to ultramarine, but between these two, we get to ultramarine. This is my violet. This is my magenta, and it really is basically quinacridone magenta. And then we have in this set 2 grays because, dude, this one, the ink blue, I love this. And then the slate gray. If you did the black on black watercolors with me, where I did all those tonal ones with different blacks, you'll know that I like that very much. All right. Jill's like, I'm really seeing you live. Yeah, we're going to do the watercolor classes. I didn't mean to be so loud there. We're going to do the watercolor classes for the most part, maybe in the evening. That's for 2 reasons. 1, because I'm filming Acrylic April and getting ready for that. And 2, because I'm having to also try to get the color mixing course to you in time for you to complete it by Acrylic April. Not that you have to, but I just think you guys would enjoy it. So I'm just trying to get them both done. And that means I'm in the day filming, and then this lets me do this at night with our little art family. How does that? Are we doing good there?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is really cool. So that's kind of some basic stuff. We'll go back over the colors again and compare them to my old colors or colors in my other set and talk about how they look different. Let's go through these. Let's put up step 2 and talk about these projects a little bit. Okay. I don't remember if I have these in the exact right order that I'm putting them up or not. Okay. So this one I actually did in the Art Sherpa retreat with my mom, this boat, and it came out so great. I just had to include it in the set. I really, really loved it. It's more of a full painting on this. It was done exactly with this. If you watercolor, the thing that you're going to notice about the color sheets is they're vibrant. And that is because they are more of a dye-based colorant than a pigment-based colorant, which is why they're a little more staining than lifting. And that's an area where they're different. If you watercolor, yeah, you're going to get the saturation, the deep saturation, but you may not have as much lifting power as you do with traditional watercolors, and you have to come in more cautiously, which I'm going to show you guys how to do. So this is that first project that's coming up. It's a lot of fun. Now, here's the thing about doing line and wash. When you start with, I'm going to try to get the boat one, with the lines in like this. Even if you're struggling with the techniques, your painting is going to come out. Is this cheating? No, it's not cheating because you're learning painting, not drawing. And I highly suggest you enjoy drawing. You should learn drawing. Drawing is awesome. I like to draw clearly. I have line and washes where we just free-handed them out on this channel, but what I want you guys to do is not be so stressed in the drawing of your painting that you never get into the painting and therefore you miss the techniques that I'm going to be teaching you. This kit is all about showing you techniques and letting you get into it and feel successful and have a great time and have it be beginner friendly. And then, you know, we can get into like on off days or different days, we'll throw some different kind of free-handy stuff to you guys. Jess Butterfly says, this is so nice because it's not the middle of the night for me in Australia. Hello, Australia. How's Australia doing? All right, so we got Mr. Turtle Time, whom you met, and he is just a lovely, lovely fellow. I really like him very much. He's super crushtacular. I just really enjoy this. And this technique here is a lot easier to do than you'd think. I really just enjoyed him very much. Oh, am I missing a question? Or am I good? Okay. Now, Cup of Sea. Oh, I love her. The detailing in her face. I'm telling you what, if you need vision help, this one, I did her and then I was like, you know, I really need to make sure that I have my glasses on when I'm painting her because I did a very fine detail on the face. But that also helps you understand, how do we paint faces? How do we get skin tones? How do we get these different effects? This is the second teacup that I have done on the channel. This also, I think, was a teacup from a retreat that we blended over into this. So blending, because we're blended. Yes, we are. We're blending. I'm energetic at night. Oh, I love the father and son swimming so much. It's one of my favorites. This is a painting I have been wanting to do, not doing, then wanting to do, and then not doing. Was nervous to do, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. This was probably the most challenging, but not because it was particularly challenging, but because I paint a lot of feminine faces and I don't paint a lot of dudes. And so I had to make sure that I kept my dudiness in there and made sure that my dude looked duder, which was a lot of fun. But I love the baby, and I loved the seeing like through the water just a little bit and all that sort of transparent effect. And I love getting to do the hair. And again, I wanted to give you a couple options and skin tones in this kit because I feel like it's important to just make sure everybody sees themselves in art, and I wanted to do that. So that is why we have that. I love the dad's hair. It says Tammy. Yeah, I love the dad's hair too. That is based on a reference photo too. That was a model. So somebody is actually walking around with that amazing head of hair, which is just terrific, terrific, terrific. So I think that is the kit and caboodle of them. I'll come back to my boat. Now, in these, let's put up another step and we're going to talk about extra tools. Want to send my question to John for me. I don't know, Amy, maybe? Has been passed. There's a question that's been passed. Let's answer Amy's question real quick.
Let me see if I can find it here.
Okay.
So you keep going and I'll go back and
all right. So
there's a random question about, did you see that
one? Which one?
I saw a random question for cinnamon. Is the color of the year Viviva magenta? Is it actually quin magenta?
It is quinacridone magenta on the Viviva color sheets.
Okay.
Is the color of the year quin magenta? No, I think the color of the year is actually more of it's a warmer magenta, I feel. I've color matched it several times and I've looked at the hex codes and everything. I think it's really actually cad red and quinacridone magenta almost mixed 1-to-1 for color of the year for that fabulous magenta. But for the sheets, quin magenta is what we're doing. Absolutely. Very cool. Okay. So other things, other tools that you might want to know about. Now these are going to be available in our store soon, things that you're seeing here. So this isn't going to be hard to find, but I do tend to paint with stuff that does exist out in the world. So it's not like you couldn't find it. This is a nice collapsible little water cup that I get. Faber-Castell does these. They come in colors. I have every one. It's just, it flattens. They both filled with water, but they flatten flat. So they fit in my art suitcase. So my little overhead art comparison suitcase, it fits in there really well and I can carry two. You're going to want some kind of pencil. A number 2 pencil is fine. If you have the credit color Aqua pencils, that's wonderful. But if you don't, just a pencil. You're just going to want to have a pencil on hand. Low tack tape. I'm going to show you guys how to mount the paper onto the board. You can mount it dry, which is just taping the outer edge, but I'm going to show you how to wet mount. That helps. That's why my sheets, when they dried, are not warped, like all wavy and buckled and warped, is because of this technique I'm going to show you to. And I'm using stick tape. We're going to have artist tape in our art store, but it's just stick tape right now. So it's pretty good. I have a sea sponge. Little craft sea sponges are just really nice to have around. I highly recommend it. Do not watercolor paint without paper towels. Just don't do it. You need to have paper towels next to you. I have a palette here. It's a metal palette kind of coated in a ceramic, like your sink, like your farm sink. But what you do want is a porcelain palette or one of these inexpensive butcher trays that are coated, because as you can see, when I wet out the paint, it doesn't bead or pearl up like it does on plastic. That's why we don't like plastic. I have a mister. So watercolor paint doesn't ever go bad or completely go out. It doesn't dry like acrylic. So if I want to reactivate this paint and use it until it is gone, all I have to do is mist it and it's usable right again. So that's one of the things that I like about watercolor. The other things that I suggest that you have around, I keep around. I got my Posca pens. I have a white Posca pen and a black Posca pen. And it is the 3mm. These are acrylic pens. I always have these in my studio. You could use a gel pen if you can't get Posca pens or the Posca pens are out of budget. The other thing that you could use is, I have the Faber-Castell Pitt pens. The big thing about these is they're water fast. So any black water fast ink, there are Bic pens that are water fast. So don't feel like you got to go drop a bunch of art money on it. But these are things that help me finish out the watercolor, and I really like them. Here's the black Posca. So if you're wondering, this one happens to be a 1mm. And this one is the 3mm. Anything in here, in that 2 range is fine, right? You're trying to not get you just want a smaller nib. See how these are smaller nibs? That's what I just have on me. They're smaller nibs. That's why they're acrylic paint. That's all they are. The other thing that you may want to get, and it is my favorite, is the incredible white mask. All this stuff is in my Amazon store right now. I'm just going to be selling it directly in my own art store soon. So, you know, we'll move over to that because I won't suddenly weirdly change prices on you because everyone bought it. Not that I have issues with that, Amazon. Anyways, this liquid frisket is my favorite. There are many friskets, liquid masking agents. What this does is this keeps your paper white if you want to do a washy wash over something but have some white paper left. This one just does things that you know me, I find those products that do things that other products don't do. You can hair dry this. You can lift it easier. You can stain it if you need to, but it has a huge amount of extra resource material. Like they produced a whole book of weird techniques to do with liquid frisket. They're just a really cool company and I dig them a ton. If you don't want to do any of that, you can use our fluid white acrylic and a brush. I am trying to do these with limited brushes. So I painted pretty much everything you see here. Using just, wait, no, I used the smaller one actually. Where's my smaller one? So I am painting with soft aqua brushes. Soft aqua brushes are synthetic squirrel and now, get this, synthetic Kolinsky sable. So this one, the synthetic Kolinsky, the imitation Kolinsky, comes to a sharp point. If you don't want to do soft aqua, I could definitely say that Escoda is good. And even though I get annoyed at Silver Brush, the Black Velvet brush is still a very good brush. So nothing wrong with the brush. Oh, and this one here is, this is one of those brushes that can be acrylic or watercolor. This is the Raphael Precision. And it's a very good brush. It comes to a nice point as well. You can paint with quills. You can paint with all that stuff. So that is what the kits are mostly going to be using. I may bring a bright in. Soft aqua is a pretty good investment in a brush. Something to know about watercolor brushes is that it's okay to invest a little more in your watercolor brushes because they last. Don't use them with your acrylic. Acrylic is what wears your brushes out. You just use your watercolor brushes with your watercolor and they will last and last and last and last and last for evers and evers and evers and evers.
Right.
Nevers. And evers. All right. I love the teacup one so much, says Jill, and I'm catching up. All right. So these are going to be fairly regular classes. I will still do other traditional watercolor. If you're doing just traditional watercolor with me, that of course is going to still happen. But this is just, well, I just felt, you want to see everything like I designed? Let's put up another step. Let's put up another step. Everything I've been designing. Sneak peeks. Okay. So, oh, I guess I don't have everything over here. I thought I had everything over here, but I don't have everything over here. I thought I had every watercolor over here. So you only get to see Sprout.
Oh, I know where they're at. Hold on a second.
Do you know where they're at?
Yeah.
Okay. John's going to go get them. He's going to have to wet a sheet of paper first anyway. So this is Sprout. Now, Sprout, right, is my little free handy sketch. And I did him again with the color sheets. Can you believe the color on this? Is like incredible color. And he is a future project that is coming up. I've got axolotls coming up for the kids. I've got triceratops coming up for the kids. I've got wine glasses coming up for those who like wine. I have so many crazy things coming up. I love him very, very much. But he did feature, I definitely used my Pitt pen with him, and I definitely used my Posca pen to get that white back on him. Whoa, I'm tipping over my thing. I love him so much. He's like, that's my favorite. I'm like, he's not like a broad topic that a bunch of people will like click it. Like they're not searching for vegetable creature. how to paint vegetable creatures, probably not a big search on YouTube, but I mean, sometimes you just got to paint what's in your head. This is the turtle, the rainbow turtle, and he just went a little crazy on me because the the gold foil. I was using Mona Lisa gold foil, and we used Canson paper on this one, and I just like the sizing. I would have done maybe hot press, and I might have done a Fabriano, like in retrospect. And I think we're gonna maybe even change papers. You know, and that's really our paper. 140-pound cold press watercolor paper is going to be Canson, is going to be Strathmore, is going to be Fabriano, just depending on availability, because there's weird shortages of stuff. So you just kind of go. Okay, this one you guys are gonna love and you're gonna want to do. She's fabulous, right? She's just giving me everything. She's just so much. I just love her so much. So much. She is absolutely a future lesson. Almost not a future lesson, but it's going to be a future lesson. Definitely. This is a waterfall kind of idea that I had. I was sort of like, can you see, got this cherry blossom thing going on right now on my nails? And so a thing happened with that. And this was, again, this is the color sheets. So, you know, that can be done. This is, I'll probably be dropping this soon somewhere. This is, let's see, traditional watercolor. This was a life book one that I did, but it's in my sheets, so you get to see it. Here's the bird. I don't know how I feel about the bird. You guys will have to tell me about the bird, but probably it will be a lesson somewhere because he was just kind of goofy and fun. But you can see he did feature the Posca pens, black and white, to get some of this kind of texture and feeling around it. And, you know, going. Let's do the florals here. I love this floral. Just a weird little abstracted floral. Look good in a room, right? Really fantastic in a room. And it's a lot of fun to do, and the techniques are friendlier than you think. And again, with line and wash, this means that you don't have to, we'll still do brush practice. We'll still do leaf practice. We'll still do the core basic skill sets that we have to do as watercolors. Definitely brush strokes and brush practice is a big deal in watercolor. But also it's learning how to do wet into wet, to recognize how wet something is. And it's like, is it too wet, or is it that right amount of wet? Or is it dry, and when to use those techniques to get hard and soft edges, and getting the lines out of the way is just a good way for you guys to do that. This is Happy Cloud. I don't know what was going on with me here, but I think I was just glad to be back painting. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it was. And it's going to make a great little line and wash for you guys. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun. And you can see I do use the Poscas here. And that does just give it that extra little pop. You could just reserve white very carefully, but I find I am not there. So, all right. I think we are good on, I'm going to I think I'll leave it with Sprout. 'Cause Sprout, I feel like, is my art ambassador here. Mm-hmm. Are we going to have to bleed proof white or something comparable on hand if no frisket? Yeah, I'm just using the Posca pens because, like, the frisket, I felt like none of these projects there will require you to have frisket. I just have to tell you about that frisket because it's the best frisket in the world. You're never going to hear me not talk about the frisket, whether there's frisket in a project or not. That's the best frisket in the world. In my opinion, I don't know anyone even over at the graphics company. You can't even say that I have the bias of, you can say with Sen LEA, oh, they're friends. Yes, they're definitely friends. And you can say with Raphael, friends, and they send brushes. So, you know, you'd be like, oh, she's got a bias. I don't know anybody at graphics. I mean all the things I'm saying equally, but, you know, the world is, it just seems like apparently truth is an optional thing now. So, just in case you're feeling like I'm feeling like, man, truth is super optional for some people. I'm just letting you know everything candidly and transparently so you can be like, oh, I know what she's saying. Now, favorite paper in the entire universe. If you're just painting with me, Fabriano. Okay, and there's the little, I'll put these to the side because we'll get into that in a second. We'll see Sprout. Do I have any questions? Will I ever do a shoe bill? Lynn, I might in watercolor.
You got the questions fast.
I might in watercolor. What color do you use if you want to use your own pans? So what I do is, Jill, is I post, like, I'm going to post my swatches labeled what colors they are in my set. If you have a wholly different set of pans, what you would do is you would swatch your pans and you could just look at the screen on mine and be like, this one's kind of a vibrant red, so I'll probably do that. This one's a little hoppier pink. And so you would just match as close, because in watercolors, it's not such a big deal on the color. Like transparent colors, that's some of the reasons why sometimes oils are a little easier on the color mixing, is when the colors are transparent, they are so much more forgiving in color mixing, just all the way around, and your paintings still come out great. And it wouldn't impact anything negatively. So you just want to be like close enough. And if you didn't have a color, you could mix a color. Like I don't really in any of my pans have this color, but I know I can take my burnt umber and a little of my phthalo green and some of my yellow and get to that olive. So I don't really worry about that. And so that's again, just like being like, well, I don't really have that color, but I could probably mix that up for like a painting session. Right. And there's a lot of traditional colors. They're given crazy names, right? But that's a pyro orange, right? And that's, I mean, that's a pyro orange, that's a pyro red, that's an opera pink, that's a magenta, that's a phthalo blue. I think their ultramarine blue just tends to separate a little bit. And so that's like, but it is basically their ultramarine. That's, you know, a violet or Dox purple. That is kind of a lamp black, and that's a Payne's gray, you know? And we sort of know those things, like that is for sure phthalo blue. And that's really, I don't even know that's burnt umber. I feel like that's more of a burnt sienna. Just saying. You know, ochre. So those are colors that you would traditionally see in most of your pan watercolors. So it shouldn't like totally stress you out. What is the largest pack of Fabriano available? I typically only see 12 sheets of watercolor paper. Could it be where I'm looking for them though? I feel like, let me look at an unopened one. 20. So, all right, let's put up materials and exchange materials maybe. Step. Okay. So, Fabriano is a 700-year-old company. In other words, they've been making paper so well that for 700 years, people keep buying it from same family. It's crazy. They make paper by hand. They took a bit of a hit a few years ago, and they had some batch that came out weird, but they handled it. And I got to tell you, I haven't seen any of the paper companies not go through that. That's the thing to know about paper, is that sometimes like you love any different paper, and then one day you're like, what is going on? So that's something to know. These are handmade products. They come from natural ingredients. But the most consistent, most reliable is the Fabriano. I like the 9x12 watercolor block. That means all the sheets are glued together, and it's at 140 pounds. I like cold press. Cold press is bumpy. Hot press is smooth. Cold press, bumpy. Hot press, smooth. So if you don't like bumpy, you'd want hot press. I like extra white. Most paper is kind of an off-white, but I want white. Because it just makes the color just pop. Like the way that an Aqua board does, like ampersand does. These are all acid free. You don't have to worry about the paper yellowing or doing any of that. It is really good. It's my favorite 20, and I think they even have bigger. And they have massive sheets too. If you feel like having a giant sheet of watercolor paper, you can get that. They produce everything. And I love them. And we will have them in our store, so you can find them very easily. But I'll also have some economy stuff and everything. So don't worry about that. All right, let's talk about traditional and like I have swatched out here what my old palette was, right? So here I have my swatches. We talked about that. Then we put up the step, right? Am I still moving to Ireland? Dude, I hope so, because like we have employees over there now. And we are definitely still moving to Ireland. What happened is our initial immigration attorney, a fantastic person, we're YouTubers. And so there were some weird rules about work and stuff. And because a lot of people don't think that YouTube is work, but the country, Ireland, does. But people didn't know that. But we have an attorney now that super knows that. So we are doing the correct paperwork for what we do to come in.
Right.
Which means that our departure has been a little delayed a couple of times, but only because we're doing it the right way and making sure we're coming in the right way. You know, and making sure we're coming in to be additive and a positive plus to the area where we're going. I think that's, you know, it's important because you want your neighbors to not be like, oh, those people. You want them to be like, oh, they're nice. They did it right. They're good. I like them. They're okay. Or at least as much as you can have. Okay. So here is my, this is the yellow in my set, right? So you look at that Hansa medium. Remember how I said it was like right between these two? Yeah. Yeah. It's right between these two, right? So I don't really need to do much if I had Hansa yellow medium or nickel azo. Either one of those is really kind of fine. Here's quinacridone magenta, and this, all it is just better is what it is. See, this is kind of that. Pyro red. This is a little more pinked than my pyro red, but it's really still a vibrant red, so it's going to work in that. And if I ever need to warm it up, I just bring the orange over into it to warm it up. Like the opera pink. You can see why I'm like, oh, this is sort of an opera pink right here. It's just a vibrant pink. You can see the Payne's gray here is really very close to this one, but like this also is somewhere between those two. So that's kind of how I got there. The Viridian and the Phthalo green, the Phthalo blue, and the Phthalo blue is a very one-to-one. What is it called in here? That's not indigo. It is the Persian blue and the ultramarine blue are very good exchanges for each other. I don't have a Docs purple here, but if I did, I usually get my purples in this set with ultramarine blue and quinacridone magenta. So normally I would just be like, you know, if I was getting my violet, I would be like, ah, and I would just make a little purple that way, you know, mixing it out. But it's a little not really saturated. Saturate it out a little more, you know, so I can mix a purple and get a purple. So I'd have that exchange. So even if I didn't have that in my set, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just mix it. So that is what, I can't imagine anyone not liking you as a neighbor. Let me tell you, my last neighbor hated us with the fire of 1,000 suns. He hated us so much that he drove his big crazy truck onto our property and hit my husband with his car while my husband was riding the lawnmower across our driveway. We don't share a driveway. Like, he had to drive out, come onto the main highway, and come back up. That's the feelings that he had. And here's what, we're not noisy. We're not noisy. My kids weren't near his property. Like, there was nothing. I don't have a dog running up there. It was crazy reasons why he was super upset. And it was such a good old boy kind of thing up there that the sheriff wouldn't even look into it. We were going to have to like keep kicking it up to some, like up the chain to some state thing. And we were like, you know what? Never mind. We'll just like avoid the guy like the plague. So that was an interesting thing to see, that sort of like corruption and everything. Did not love it. Wasn't my favorite. You know, he was a ass. Yeah, he was. Moderator Cad Red knows. Moderator Cad knows how much of a he was. He was a lot. He was extra. He would shine his lights of his car into our house at night, trying to mess with us, but we're not in that room he was shining them in. We'd be like, we knew he was doing it, but it didn't bother us. And he would try to have like loud parties, but we had a huge amount of trees. So like, if you went out and you went far to the edge by our pool, you would know he was being noisy, but you couldn't hear him at the house. We were really insulated. It was really funny. Like, he was trying to be the worst neighbor in the universe. It's just, we had a big chunk of land between us. And so like all of his shenanigans, they were like really Scooby-Doo, and we just kind of let him go. We were just like, maybe he'll get tired eventually. Because I'm an artist. Like, I could have just gotten a bunch of mannequins and made some crazy art all along the border of our properties together. I could have been evil. He does not even know the creativity that's in here that could have just gone blah. Now I have one more thing to show you, but John is stuck on the phone. And when he comes back, I'm going to show you how to do that. Will your store do international shipping? Looking for Australia. So Josh, that is definitely, I don't know right off the bat. We have not yet figured out international shipping. But as a future resident of Ireland, we then have access to the EU and, you know, and the UK. And so we're gonna, and we have a lot of our friends like Fabriano and Sennelier, and they're in Europe. So we're thinking that we're getting set up so we could also have a online store there and do that as well. So that is the goal. What it is I just haven't figured out exactly how that's going to look yet, because we haven't, like, we're still trying to figure out how to get the kids in school and if they're going to have to speak Gaelic, which I think they're going to have to speak Gaelic. I don't know how to break to them that they're going to have to speak Gaelic.
It's going to be okay, I think.
You think it's going to be okay?
Yeah.
I'm into the idea that they're going to speak Gaelic, though. I'm into it. Like, I'm going to have to learn it because they're going to be saying nonsense to me and, you know, watching that cake video for graduation, and they're going to think I'm not going to know, but I'm going to know. I'm going to practice. All right. Is there a labs program for watercolor? Is it all inclusive? Lynn, you are absolutely welcome to use watercolors. If you're in labs and you want to use the watercolor designs, same rules apply. Like, I don't have any rights to give you licensing to Disney. So if I do fan art, I can't extend the licensing rights to you, to that, because that's fan art. But all my designs, yeah, enjoy. And some of the watercolors are super one hoot or half hoot, and especially the Instagram projects, and so are perfect for paint night painting. And if you want to use that in your labs, please do. And pass that on if anyone asks. Are you ready to show them how to mount paper?
I can wet some paper.
You just got to wet it
for
for me, and then I will. Okay, so
let me do the next
in
step.
all candor, John is better at mounting than I am. Just, I'm not going to lie. He has a more smoothie mount than I have. I'm going to get the boat. I'll do the boat. Okay, there you go. Boat. So thick sometimes I don't know. Now I'm going to kind of make sure that this is sort of a little bit cleaned off, because, you know, you don't want a dirty table. I'm probably going to have to get another board because I acrylic on here. And the acrylic will mess with the seal that I'm about to create. Just anywhere on here. They just got to see the general thing. Is it really wet? All right. So what you do is you wet the paper under the sink, and then you stick it to your surface. Huh? Yeah. I'm trying to. All right. And you can see it doesn't go anywhere. And then quick as a bunny, which I'm not. Ah! All right. So use the low tack tape. Ah! It did the thing to me, John.
What?
The thing where it tears like a little weird thingy. That just becomes a tack down later, though. I say save all this tape. You can use it again and again and again and again and again. So here's the thing on the low tack tape. When you put it on wet, it's like frisket. Man, I got the buckle.
It get more wet. You can't restick it. Once it buckles, you have to re-wet it.
Nah, got it.
Okay.
So what happens there is you do it wet and you want to get it stuck down. Stuck down. It's important to get the paper wet enough to get it on. John was kind of in a rush. And so you really want to get the paper wet. Acrylic or any smooth surface that's dedicated to this. And I'm just doing this real quick. Huh? Yeah, I think we're okay. So that is what you're doing. It's just that one. We can try to do it again.
No, that's what I saw. Hold on a second. Let me do this. Well, you can do get wet again and then sometimes. Oh, that actually did it.
Yeah. So the two reasons that this kind of mostly works is what happens is the same thing that happens on a watercolor block. I didn't tape this straight either. What happens is that allows the paper, the fibers of the paper to all expand and contract and do all the things that they're going to do at the same time. when you stretch it or tack it down like this, as it dries or as you work it, it's going to continue to lay flat. And then as you let it completely dry, because you don't want to take the paper off until it's completely dry. You don't want to take the tape off till the paper's dry. Because if you take the tape off too early, it will tear the paper. So just like brisket, right? Because the paper's got to restabilize. So I generally leave a watercolor overnight when I'm done with it, just to have a full dry out. Because good paper holds water for a second. All right. Disembodied stun hands. Jess says, my father is Irish and just started learning Gaelic 10 years ago, and he can speak over 10 languages fluently. And he said it was the hardest to learn, and he's a linguist. Yeah, I'm not. Dude, I love French, but I can't say that I spoke it well. Has anyone tried the Mihello Mission Gold single pigment paints? I bought them because of good reviews, but I find they don't compare to Paul Rubens or Core or Daniel Smith. Yeah, they don't. They don't compare to those paint companies, but in all fairness, very few do. Like there's Schmicky, there's Daniel Smith, there's Core, there's Senele, Aqua. There's certain companies that's their business whole. Like, I don't always love Holbein watercolor, but that is more because they are stable watercolor. They have no flow agent in them. Because in traditional, this company comes from Japan, and traditional Japanese watercolor, you don't want the watercolor to go anywhere unless you tell it to go there. Very brushstroke oriented, right? So a tight watercolor is definitely preferable. But in pigment, they're completely on par with all the top companies. I also very much like my Van Gogh watercolors quite a lot. Very much, very much. I wish I hadn't bought every cheap paper to try. I could have had so much good paper. Oh yeah, that's another thing. If you're going to watercolor with me, the place to save money is not the paper. Save money a lot of other places, but the paper, this is why we use the paper that we use. So you can do this mount. Now, you can do this exact mount without getting the paper wet first. You can mount it dry, and as you paint, it will buckle more. But if you allow it to dry on the board overnight, it will flatten back out, so it's easier to frame. And there's some tips and tricks on like flattening out your watercolor paper. Like you can press this stuff like flowers. Like not for nothing, you can put it in a bigger weighted book and be like, I'm done with you. Squish. So that's very good. Now that is the kit. So this is what's going on with the kit. Those are the projects that are coming up. I've got to show you how to use the kit itself. Let me get my watercolor out. Oh, never mind. I'm going to leave this here. Why am I pulling that up? I don't know. So when you do have the kit, I'm looking for my little sheets, my watercolor sheets that I had just here.
Okay, so you're gonna actually
what it is it stuck to the.
Are you gonna paint here for just a minute?
Just a minute. Okay.
Okay.
So I just want to show you how to use the sheets. So put a step up, John, so they can mark it, so you guys can find the different topics. Okay. So when you get your kit, I'll open a new kit for myself. Well, I just want to show them how to do the kit correctly when they get it. So you get your kit, and you're going to open your little envelope. I'm getting more from the store. Okay, so you get your kit, and you take out your stuff, and you go, oh, it's so amazing. I'm so happy. And you put your little watercolor sheets aside, and you see, oh, I've got a card and samples, and you put those to the side to decide if you're going to be kind enough to gift them to friends. You're going to pull the little sheet down, and you can come in. Sometimes it's nice to actually write your name in the kit, right? And you can, if you're an Instagram person, this is actually a smart thing to do. Put your social media here. So if you do any recordings with your kit, they see your handle and they can follow you easier. It's an interesting thing. Like then, even if people steal your stuff, you don't have to worry about it. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to open the sheet. These prevent it from sticking together, and you're going to take your brush, right? This is my number 14 Raphael Aqua Soft, or Soft Aqua. I don't know why I always say it backwards. And you get the brush wet, and how you activate the paint is you get the paint wet like this, and then over the word Vivid Red, you're going to swatch. I just want you to be able to see how, right? So depending on how much water is on your brush, and if I want to color mix, I bring it over there. I bring it to my palette, okay? Over here on my palette. Here's my cherry blossom. That's because you're not going to remember with these crazy names what, right? So if I want to mix those two, that's how I can do that. I'm just totally painting right on the paper here, but you get my point. And then you would flip it up. Get yourself some orange. See, I can come here and mix. Look at that. Mixy, mixy, mix. That's an interesting little peach color I've just made myself just now. So you can just totally do that. There's the happy yellow. Notice I have a paper towel to check the pigment on my brush. See, I have pigment in my brush. Got to do a vigorous swish and swatch the happy yellow. And you go through your whole book and you swatch it. Okay? Now, I have been using this book. This book here has done all the paintings that I showed you, every one of them, and it still has all this paint left. When I tested the Viviva color sheets, and you can go back to the first painting that I tested them with, I gave my bonus sheets that I got sent as samples to my kids and said, have at it, let me know what you think. And I did not at all just sit there and be like watching them every second. Right? So you can see how that goes. And then I'll come in and get some burnt umber. So you can see it's still going. And that's how we're just kind of doing double loads, and we can allow them to bleed into each other. I'm just letting you guys see that there's still just a ton of paint. Just a ton of paint. I'm going to be doing the next 20. So these are not just over in a second, right? You get these for a second, and then what happens, I just close that up. It's going to dry. It's going to be fine. I mean, like, I have so much, even though, like, the Persian blue, I would say the one that you've got to work the hardest is probably the indigo blue. Because it comes out like that, but then as it dries, it's going to do that cool thing I showed you where it does the pink blue separation. It'll dry like that. It's like crazy as it goes down the paper. So that's what you're going to do with your book. When you get your book, is you can put your name in it, and you can put your social media if you want, but you're going to go through and swatch all of it so that you can do that. Then I also want you to take a practice sheet of paper and swatch out all your colors and label them. And then if you have any other watercolor paint, swatch it and compare what you have that's comparable. You can paint the Viviva over traditional watercolor. They totally interact just fine. You can be like, I've got Daniel Smith and I've got Viviva, and they interact. This is less color fast than traditional watercolor. But for the purposes of a human life, you know, Turner didn't do very much color fast stuff either. I'm just not that worried about it. It's not like neon paint. You know, it's not like gone in 2 seconds. Like, I've had this sheet way more than a year. And, you know, like swatching it out, because these are the colors that I picked, right? And I sent them this thing when I was like looking at that. And so, and they haven't faded in any way. So I'm just saying it's not like boom, and then it's gone, you know, and there you go. So that's what you do. You would come here and I'll show you doing a washout. Let's do a washout so you can just sort of see. Let's wash out the boat. See how you can just wash right over. So I can be pretty rough. And there's the difference. Like sometimes, you know, with traditional watercolor like this, you know, you can really lift it. It doesn't go deep into the paper. This is a lot more saturated, so it goes deeper into the paper, but also I don't have to work as hard to get the color. And sometimes for me, what I'm looking for is that pop of color, and that's what I'm looking for. And you can see how the taping it down keeps this from being crazy on me. and how you can still see the lines, and the lines activate everything. Moderator Rainbow's like talking about swatching. Swatching is, gasp, they're all fugitives. Yes, they're all criminal colors. Amy, that's very good. They're fugitive colors. It's my favorite thing. Like the colors, like being a criminal and stuff.
They're going to get away.
Now tomorrow we have a lovely little acrylic that we're going to be doing together. No, is it tomorrow? Or is it Thursday?
I don't think it's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday.
We might have it tomorrow. I alternated them out. Are we? I'm going to check real quick if we're on my acrylic channel, if we're live tomorrow.
I'm often the last to know that we're going live.
Yeah, John never knows that we're live. Like ever.
15 minutes before.
Like ever. He's like, are we live today? I'm like, you could check the chat. But I also don't know. So I can't really talk that much smack right now. Okay. 16 hours. Yeah. So we have we have an acrylic tomorrow over on the acrylic channel.
Oh.
Right. So over on the acrylic channel, we have an acrylic. I got to find me again because I'm signed into my acrylic channel, not my watercolor channel. So I'm here as a guest today.
We're all guests here today.
Now, again, and if you go to the calendar over at theartsherpa.com, you can see upcoming classes. The video pages are going to be there, just like everything. Everything will be viewable after the show. I will have shorts over here so you can get sneak peeks at stuff. I will have tips over here so you get stuff. And then these big projects. Most of these will take about the ostrich probably won't, like the simple ones won't, but the complicated paintings will take about an hour. So just about the same as you're used to. And it'll be step by step, just like we do over on the acrylic channel. So it's all the teaching process that you love, but it's just with these color sheets. And again, you could just use your traditional watercolors and come paint along, and it wouldn't be at all a problem in any way. And again, you don't have to buy anything to do any of this because you'll be able to download it and work it out yourself for free. But if you wanted the kits, if you want the full kit, it's there. And I think you save $10 if you get the sheets and I think that's what it worked out, wasn't it? That's what Donna said, I thought. That you save some money when you buy the watercolor sheets and the watercolor paper together.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, but you don't have to buy it every month because we'll always release the line and wash as their own pack. And then also, if you wanted to go buy a pack later and give it to somebody, you'll be able to do that. I don't know. Are these going to be limited edition?
You know, I don't believe so.
But I can't guarantee that they won't be.
Well, I think really it's going to be
probably open edition.
The paper? So the prints?
Yeah.
No, we're not. No, we're basically, these are open. We're basically, we bought a machine.
Yeah.
So that we could just make these.
Because we wanted to be able to do the 9x12s. Honestly, they look nicer and they're a lot of fun. And the 8x10s just tend to be a little bit small, especially on those faces. So is the paper included in the kit? Does it have to be wet first? It doesn't have to be, but that's just how you dry mount it to a board. You could wet mount it to a board. You could also just tape it down dry. It will just buckle a little more, but it will dry flat. I just wanted to show you because that's how I start every time. And I just wanted to make sure I showed you. So we'll also probably do a short on how to do it. We'll probably do how to mount dry, which is real simple. It's just you tape it down when it's dry. Or we'll show you how to do the soaked wet mount where you mount it wet to a surface that it sticks to and then it dries there. Either is fine. And again, that's why we're using 140 pound because it holds up to some abuse. It's not some light, fragile paper that can't take it.
Right.
Right? Are we making soap again?
Yes,
Jill. I'm sorry. I got so excited.
No, go ahead.
All right. So the things on the soap. Do you guys want some dish on the soap? You want to hear the straight bubble from the art spa?
What's the sud?
What's the sud? The sud is that the soap will be back it takes a month to cure it, does it not? So it takes a minute because this is a process to make the soap. But we're making a huge amount. And to get the cost down, we're doing smaller bars. So you don't have to have the crazy expense of the big tubs. Figured out how to do a smaller bar. So that will help the pocketbook and make it a little bit easier. And then you aren't stuck with it forever. And then you're going to be able to get that consistently, at least for sure from Amazon, potentially in the future in our art store. which is opening soon.
Mm-hmm.
So excited. Soon. The watercolor brushes, all the stuff that you see, you'll be able to get there. You'll continue to be able to get the kits from us. And so that's really good. And my thing is if you're painting watercolor with me, the one thing I just ask is that you try to find 140-pound paper. And I really love Fabriano. They do the best paper. They're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. That's why they're in business for 700 years. Do I know them? I do. Do I have a bias? I do. I really like them. I'm so biased about this paper. I don't hate arches though. Like I don't have an issue with arches in any way. I used to paint arches. And I like their block too. And Strathmore is okay. And Canson is okay. The issue with Strathmore is sometimes they buy in batches and you're just never really sure. I love Aqua boards. The ampersand Aqua boards are just off the chain. They're so good. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of love out there. There's not like, I don't have like a lot of paper shade. But when paper is bad, it's really bad. Like paper can ruin, your stuff. And so, no such thing as being stuck with Sherpa's fabulous soap. My mom is starting to freak out because I gave my mom so much soap and John Little does the brushes and he's been like, do you have more soap? When's the soap coming out? Are we going to get the first batch? We're going to get the first batch, right? So I got to make sure. So I got to make sure my mom's hooked up because they're like, that's what washes their brushes, and all of that. And again, come by the art store because I think we're going to have really good prices.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So watch for that. We'll announce here and on the other one. Subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
Didn't mean to yell in your ear. I'm so sorry. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the lives. And there's some lives scheduled up. As soon as you finish this video, go notify me on the 3 upcoming lives. I'll post the 4th one in the next day or so. And that way, that your first pack, you'll be like, oh, I know that we've got these projects. I know that I've got that. So you're like, I know I'm okay. And that's what you want to do. All right. Guys, thank you for supporting the watercolor channel. I think watercolor is going to be very important. The world is going to change on us in a minute. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that having a couple paint mediums is a very good thing. And also watercolor is just fun. Yeah. So fun. It's just fun. So I think you're going to love it and I think you're going to enjoy it. I will probably do the boat as an acrylic, but I'm not going to do everything I do in watercolor as an acrylic. Some things are just watercolor classes. Go check out the castle and the village that I did in line and wash. Check out the girl in the umbrella line and wash. I've got some line and wash over here that we just did like old school style that you guys are going to be like, oh, I'm into it. And those will all work with the Viviva color sheets. All the lessons that are already here worked with the Viviva. And now that you know the exchanges, when I'm saying quinacridone magenta, I mean the magenta in that. And make a cheat sheet. I'll try to make a cheat sheet that you can print out of what goes to what. But you should make your own cheat sheet for your own paint. So you can just paint along with me and be like, no problem, no problem, no problem. Because you will love it. You can throw it in your purse. You can't believe how convenient that is. All right. Do you have to use that brand of tape? Roxanne, you do not have to use that brand of tape. You need a low-tack tape. Low-tack tape for painters. So there's artist tape, low-tack tape, painter tape. And if you cannot find any of that, take masking tape and find a sweater or a velour sofa. And I'm not even kidding. You put it down on the surface, the fabric surface, and go tap, 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 and get some lint on it. It will get you through. I have done that. And it fully works. I should make a tip video about that. Like weird things I do when I forget my art supplies at home. That's a fun thing to do at an art retreat. Be like riding around, touching your tape to everybody's like denim and surfaces. And people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm out of low-tack tape. I need your lints. Give me your lints. That's a shirt I should have from that one retreat. Give me your lints. As an artist, you learn to make do. You're nothing if not creative.
Just creative.
Wait, question, says Amy. What's the question? Oh, no, I answered the question. Right? Oh, and Carol T. John, are you okay?
Hanging in there.
John is, thank you so much. I'm going to answer Amy's question about lantern, not tangled, but just a glowing light in a dark sky. That is much more likely to happen, Amy, because I'm not messing with Disney lately. They've been, but yeah, the AI is making everybody edgy. Um, so I'm just not messing with anybody, but I'll do something there. John and his back. So I put up a post about John's back on my Facebook page. John was a little weirded out by it, but actually he ended up being super grateful because here's the thing. We can go through this journey and learn everything fresh and new ourselves, or we can talk to amazing, informed, incredible people like yourselves about what you all know and save years of missteps and not getting it. And there's just wisdom in talking to your community. So I put it out there to you guys. So many of your tips and suggestions in private message directly on the post and all of that were exactly what we needed. And we are super grateful. I have saved the post so that I will never lose it. Please don't take any of your comments away because we're using them. We are using them. And I mean, there were good tips like get a neurologist and some stuff about like inversion to open the things and different like medicines that for temporary and possible treatments in the future and all of that. So that was super helpful and we really, really appreciate it. Okay. All right. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to see you then the next class here. Let me tell you the next class in the watercolor is when are we live again in the watercolor? We are live. I think it's Friday night, the 27th at the same bat time, same bat channel. So go hit notify me. I'm going to notify me too. I'm going to notify me too so I don't forget. So that's when we're going to be kind of just tucking these lessons in the evening where I can fit them. But I've scheduled out through the mermaid. So I've got the boat, the turtle and the mermaid scheduled out. So you've got those. So if you've bought the kit, be like, save those dates. And even if you haven't, come by and see because they're going to be a lot of fun and we're going to talk about cool stuff. And we're much more relaxed over here on the watercolor channel. You know, we're very groovy over here.
Yeah.
It's groovy evening show. Hey, baby, I love you.
I love you too. This has been fun.
And thank you for 10,000 subs.
Yeah,
Woo!
thank you guys. It's been really, it's been wonderful. We're there.
Oh my gosh. If we get to 100,000 over here, I'm going to lose my mind. If we get to 100,000 subs on this channel, don't let me forget this. I'm going to do a mega giveaway from our art store. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be huge. We're going to have such an epic, epic party. I'm going to do the same thing if we hit 1 million over on the acrylic.
Yeah.
We're going to have a huge, like, giveaway celebration extravaganza.
Yeah, I think so.
Do something big to celebrate. I can't say that I'll be like Mr. Beast, but I'll be Mr. Beast adjacent on a much smaller, not Mr. Beast budget. Is what,
on an art budget.
On an artist budget. I'll be and not like that crazy artist that made himself big by giving away money and cars.
I don't know that person.
That was so insane.
Yes.
I don't think he actually gave anybody the actual prizes. Jazza called him out, so I question him. Jazza says, watch it. I'm going to be like, I'm watching it, sir.
Watching you.
I trust you. I trust what you say, sir. I'm going to watch it.
Or I did.
Believe you. Huh?
I did. Not anymore.
Well, I didn't watch the other guy. I didn't even know about him until John told me about it. And then I was like, well, I won't watch him.
Just on principle, I support Jazza.
I just support Jazza. I watched Jazza. I mean, the guy Jazza said was like doing the crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm not about that.
Yeah, I'm not about that either. But I will do a real giveaway where you actually receive prizes and are given things for real by me. But not at the level of Mr. Beast. If I could have $1 million to give you, I would give you $1 million. But I don't have $1 million myself, so I don't need it. I'm a very happy person. It's okay. I'm not like languishing over $1 million.
No.
I'm so goofy. Okay. Love you. See you either tomorrow on the acrylic channel or Friday on the watercolor channel. And I want you guys to do something very important for me. I want you to be good to yourselves. Seriously, be kind, man. I know that part is hard. I know that is difficult. Say kind things to yourself. Give yourself a little extra grace and forgiveness and understanding. And then be good to each other. Right? Let's assume better of each other. Let's give each other a little grace where we can. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Or a piece of paper that I'm stretching very slowly on a board. Bye-bye. Go out
That's not an out. That's a steps.
No, as my bye-bye was not a bye-bye.
It was
just vanish.
It was just a waving. No, I'm gonna still fade you out. See, you
Still
didn't say
fade me out.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.